Hello and welcome to this chess tactics video covering tactical chess patterns, which are very important to learn and recognize to help you avoid tactical oversights and blunders, and also to help you win games by using tactics against your opponent. So today we will cover a little bit of tactical pattern recognition, and this position here, it is black's turn to move. So what would you do here with black? There's probably more than one winning move, but what is the best move that you see here? So take a look at this. Pause the video if you want to look at it further. But before I give you the final answer for this problem, I will use tactical patterns to help solve this, and I'll show you how you can do this. Let me go here to another example, and let's see, make sure I have everything turned off. All right, so once again, in this position, it is black's turn to move. And so take a look at this. What do you think black should do here? How does black win this position? So this shouldn't be too difficult, especially if you recognize the tactical chess pattern here. So I'll turn on this evaluation, and you should be able to see that rook to e1 is a mate here. And so this is a pattern of using these weak light squares around a king position where the king has possibly castled here and had a fianchettoed bishop maybe, but the bishop is not covering these weak light squares. So the black's light squared bishop jumped in here, taking control of these light squares, and now the rook is able to move forward here with a checkmate on the back rank with the bishop and the rook here. So this is a common tactical pattern to learn and be aware of so you can defend against it or use it in your own games. All right, now using this pattern, let's go back and look at another example here. All right. Okay, so in this position, once again, it is black's turn to move. So now, using the pattern that we just saw, how can you win this position with black? So what move would you make here? As always, pause the video if you need more time. If not, let's take a look here. So a mate in 2 here for black, and it shouldn't be too difficult for you. If you look at the moves that check the king, so bishop to h3, forcing the king to move. He cannot escape because of this rook, so the only move is here, and then mate. So we build off of that pattern in the first position, and we look at this a little more difficult position, and you should be able to solve that. All right, so keeping that in mind, let's take a look at a little more difficult position building off of that. All right, so now once again with black to move here, how should black proceed here? And how does he win this position? All right, take a look, pause the video if you need to. And we see here that white is ahead by +5, but black is winning in this position. So let's see how he does it. All right, so a mate in 3. And so this just builds off the previous theme. And without being aware of that pattern, this move may be overlooked because most people are not going to give up their queen. But once you know this pattern, you may be able to see this move here of queen to f1. And now the only thing that white can do is capture here. And then we continue with our pattern. Then after the king moves, we have a mate here. All right, so hopefully you're getting the hang of this. Let's make it a little more difficult now. All right, so we'll take a look at another problem. All right, so black to move, and we just build further on those last moves here. So hopefully now you will be able to see how black should continue in this position. So take a look at it, pause if you want to look at it further, but hopefully you'll be able to see that now it is a mate in 4, and we have queen to e1 here, forcing the king to move to g2, then queen to f1, sacrificing the queen. The king is forced to capture, but this allows us to set up our final pattern with the bishop and the rook here. All right. So let's take a look at it, and we'll go a little deeper into this position with the next example. All right. So once again, you can take a look at it from white's perspective if you want, but we'll flip the board as it is black's move. And so remembering our previous pattern and theme, how would you proceed here? So take a look at it, pause if you have to. If not, let's continue. All right, so now a mate in 5, and we just use a forcing move here. So check. The only thing that can be done, because the bishop is covering this h3 escape square, is to capture. But then we have queen to e1 check, forcing the king to move, and now check again, forcing the king to capture. But we continue and set up the pattern here with rook to e1 mate. So hopefully you saw that. And now using all that information, we'll go back to the initial problem, and you should be able to solve that, hopefully. All right. So white's perspective, take a look here. How does black break down into the position and checkmate white? So we'll flip the board to black's perspective here. And, you know, there are other moves that would win the game. So bishop to h3 could have been played. But then this rook could block. White would be behind in material after this exchange. But the best move in this position is rook to e1 here. And then after the king is forced to move, we continue with our previous patterns here, decoying the king with this rook sacrifice, which allows the queen to attack. And once the king moves, we decoy the king again down to this f1 square, and then check, king moves, and then the final mating pattern. All right, so I hope this helped you by repeating this pattern. Hopefully it will burn it into your memory better and help you to be able to find this type of pattern in your own games, you know, to defend against it or to use it to win against your opponent. And so I have one bonus problem before I end this video. Let's take a look at this next problem. And All right, so here it is white's turn to move. What is the best move for white to play in this position? And if we take a look at the material, white is behind by 2 pawns, but it is white's turn to move. And how should he proceed in this position? So take a look and see what you think here. All right, so pause the video if you need more time. If not, let's see how white should proceed here. All right, so we see white has a mate in 5. And there are moves that draw the game. Rook to A8. Also, D takes on E6 here. But the best move is F7 here. So I hope you found this, but if not, it was a little tricky. So here there are different options. If, of course, the king moves to H8, then the pawn will just queen with mate. If the king captures with king takes F7, well, then we have rook to F1, king retreating to G8, and the similar pattern of the bishop and rook working together to mate the king on the back rank. But if we go back and look at the most resistance that can be put up by black, would be bishop captures the pawn. But then after rook to A8, we have rook to C8, just delaying the inevitable. So check, bishop blocks, but after a capture, the king is forced to move here, and then we have rook to F8. So a little different use of this pattern, but still the rook and the bishop combine to checkmate the king. All right, well, I hope you enjoyed these little this demonstration of this tactical chess pattern here with the bishop and the rook working together. And hopefully you will be able to recognize this more easily in your own games, using it to win or to defend against it. So if you've enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe. Feel free to leave comments or suggestions. And remember to study tactical patterns. Just study tactics in general. It's one of the quicker ways to improve your chess. All right. Thank you, everybody, and have a great day.